is the two basic conditions. Okay, the one is elastic collision and another one is inelastic collision. So we'll just have a look of these two things. General collision के बाद, if you remember the experiments of the Rutherford's atomic model, that is, Rutherford is bombarding the alpha particles on the gold foil, then we can have a scattering of particles. And so, from that evidence, we just came to know that there must be a central part which is positively charged. Electron is called as the nucleus, and electrons are surrounding the nucleus, which is in the form of cloud. So Rutherford experiment is generally as an scattering experiment. We can have one more experiment in your first year in terms of your atomic molecular physics, that is Frank-Hertz experiment. So if you can remember that Frank-Hertz experiment, we have a tube, and in terms of a tube, you can have a filament, then we have a grid, we have an anode, electrons are coming out from the filament. With the phenomena that is called as thermionic emission. Thermionic emission is the phenomena which emits the electrons by heating. Okay, thermionic emission. So there are different types of phenomena by which we can emit the electrons. So you can have this, electrons are bombarded, and we can know that you can have mercury gas inside, and we'll have some curve with a particular potential. Okay, so you can have this type of curve. So this will occur at particular voltages, that is 4.9, this is 9.8, this is 14.7. So these are the peaks which are observed. Initially, this is prepared with the low tension batteries, and you can have that high tension batteries here. So you can have that, you can increase the potential, okay, from 0 to 60, or you can have that also in terms of your anode. So you can have this conditions, this is not variable. So you can have that conditions, you can have a rough idea of this. So the point is that while looking at this Frank experiment, we'll have two phenomena. In this first point, we have a phenomenon that is called as an elastic collision. Okay, and after this, up to this point, we have inelastic collision. Similarly, we can have this for this part up to this point, we have elastic and again inelastic, elastic and again inelastic. So you can have that type of collision. What does it mean? These collisions, these are referred with respect to our conditions, that is elastic and inelastic. So what is elastic? The elastic collisions are those for which the kinetic energy before collision is equal to kinetic energy after collision. ठीक है, म्हणजे दोन बॉडीज कोलाइड होत आहेत, त्यांची जी काही कायनेटिक एनर्जी आहे, ती कायनेटिक एनर्जी बिफोर कोलिजन दॅट मस्ट बी इक्वल टू आफ्टर कोलिजन. Best example is your ideal gas. If you can remember the definition of that ideal gas, okay, in that ideal gas there is no interatomic interactions. When these particles they will collide, after colliding they will have again the same velocities. Okay? That means their energy cannot be, you can say, wasted. Okay, in terms of heat and sound, likewise in other particles. Suppose दोन मोठे व्हेकल्स आले आहेत आणि ते एकमेकांवरती आदळतात, ठीक आहे, तर त्याच्यामध्ये काय होतंय की त्याचं जे काही एनर्जीज आहेत त्या एनर्जीज चेंज होतात. दॅट मीन्स कायनेटिक एनर्जी जी काही व्हेकलचं स्पीड असेल, ठीक आहे, तर त्या व्हेकलचे स्पीड जे आहे ते ॲट लास्ट दॅट विल बिकम्स झिरो अँड सो यू कॅन हॅव द कायनेटिक एनर्जी डिक्रीजेस. सो your energy is lost in terms of some heat and sound. But in elastic collision, in terms of elastic collision, this is not the case. What does it mean in terms of a Franken's instrument here? So, if you can consider a gas, or you can say here you can have a mercury, when these electrons, when they collide, okay, when these electrons, when they collide on this mercury atom on the initial conditions, म्हणजेच ही जी काही व्होल्टेज 0.5 पासून 4.9 पर्यंत येतं, तिथपर्यंत ज्यावेळेस हे इलेक्ट्रॉन्स इथनं निघून ह्या मर्क्युरीवरती आदळतील, त्या मर्क्युरीचं आणि जे काही इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आहेत त्यांचं जे काही कोलिजन होत आहे त्याच्यामध्ये कुठल्याच प्रकारची एनर्जी लॉस होत नाही. व्हॉट डज इट मीन? इट मीन्स दॅट हे जे काही इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आहेत ते इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आहे तसेच या मर्क्युरी मधनं पास होत आहेत and they are collected at the anode, and that's why your current on your y-axis that increases up to this point. Then what will happen suddenly at this 4.9 volt? Look at the conditions for your ionization potential. So your mercury that will ionize at particular steps at 4.9, 9.8, 14.7 at particular steps, and so you can have that step potentials for this. So with respect to this, they just said after 4.9 volts, when these electrons which are moving towards the anode, when they will have an interaction with this mercury, they will impart all its energy to this mercury atom, so that this mercury atom they are trying to move in their excited state. And so as these electrons they are reaching, why this current is increasing? This current is increasing because these electrons are reaching at the anode. But now we have an abstract, that is your mercury. So these electrons are colliding with this mercury, and as there is a collision between this, okay, which is an inelastic type, and so as all these electrons they will impart the energy to this mercury atoms, all electrons cannot reach at this point, and that's why it decreases sharply. ठीक आहे, इथून हे इन्क्रीज होतं आणि 4.9 वरनं ते काय होतं परत डिक्रीज होतं. सो इट इज नॉट ॲट द 0 पॉइंट, ते 0 पर्यंत जात नाही, कारण दोन गोष्टी आहेत. एक तर जेवढे काही इलेक्ट्रॉन्स निघतील ते सगळे मर्क्युरीवरती आदळतील याची प्रोबॅबिलिटी माहित नाहीये. So some of the atom electrons they will reach at the anode, and that's why it suddenly does not drop to 0 point. The second point is that when this electrons are colliding with this mercury, there is a probability or there are chances of emission of secondary electrons. ठीक आहे, म्हणजे जे काही मर्क्युरी मधला आउटरमोस्ट सेल आहे त्या आउटरमोस्ट सेलचा जो काही इलेक्ट्रॉन आहे हा इलेक्ट्रॉन रिमूव्ह होऊ शकतो आणि तिथून तो काय होऊ शकतोय परत तुमच्या एनोड पर्यंत जाऊ शकतो. सो यू कॅन हॅव दॅट probabilistic conditions, and that's why it does not drop to a 0 point. So you can have this that is up to 4.9 volt. Again after this, as you can increase this voltage, it increases, you can elastic collision reaches at the 9.8, and again at that potential it drops. So we can have that continuous elastic and inelastic collision, that is the combination of these conditions. Now let us say we can have this example. असे खूप सारे examples आपल्याकडे आहेत. आता जे काही व्हिडिओ मध्ये सांगितले ते ही examples तुम्ही कन्सिडर करू शकता. Now we can have this points with respect to this elastic and inelastic. So just come to the point, what is actually mean by elastic and what is mean by inelastic collisions. So we can have to look at it in terms of first, let us say elastic collision. In terms of elastic collision, we can say the total kinetic energy, okay, before collision is equal to total kinetic energy after collision. Okay, that means its kinetic energy is conserved. Why? We can have a total kinetic energy in terms of your elastic scattering. We can say this is a, we can say in terms of a momentum, that momentum is also conserved. And just say both the things, that is momentum and kinetic energy is conserved. So let us say, for example, we can have this condition with respect to two masses. Let us say we have two masses, that is m1 and m2, which is having initial velocities u1 and u2, and the final velocities are v1 and v2. So what you can write your kinetic energy and momentum? So you can write your momentum, that is initial momentum for the first particle is m1 u1, for the second particle is nothing but m2 u2, and that is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So what does it mean? It means that your angular momentum before collision, that is equal to after collision. Now we are talking about only in terms of a kinetic energy. ठीक है, आपल्याला पोटेंशियल एनर्जीचा काही संबंध नाही आहे. You just have a look at this kinetic energy because we are considering that the particle is in motion. Okay, as the particle is in motion, we have to look at this kinetic energy, and so you can say for this case that is 1/2 m1 u1 square plus 1/2 m2 u2 square is equal to 1/2 m1 v1 square plus 1/2 m2 v2 square. So both the things, that is your momentum and your kinetic energy, both are conserved, which are same. Before collision is equal to after collision. So you can have that first point with respect to your elastic collision. Remember that in this point, in terms of elastic collision, your energy is not lost. Okay, either it's in terms of heat or in terms of a sound, okay, or in terms of a friction. So you can have that condition, that is in terms of elastic collision. याच्या exactly opposite आता दूसरा point है, that is called as inelastic collision. Now what will happen in terms of inelastic collision? In inelastic collision, total kinetic energy before collision is not equal to the total kinetic energy after collision. ठीक है, जी काही kinetic energy है, ती kinetic energy conserve होत नाही. So how can you write your equations? Let us say we can have these bodies. So 1/2 m1 u1 square plus 1/2 m2 u2 square is equal to 1/2 m1 v1 square plus 1/2 m2 v2 square. So where the energy lost? So energy is lost that can be given in terms of a equation that is called as Q. Okay. So either we can have two conditions. Either this Q is greater than 0 or either this Q is less than 0. So we have 2 points. What is this Q? This is either the amount of heat absorbed or either the amount of heat lost. ठीक है, एक तर तुमचं जे काही कोलिजन होतं आहे, इनइलास्टिक कोलिजन होतं आहे, दोन लार्ज बॉडीज मधलं जे काही कोलिजन होतं आहे, तर त्याच्यामध्ये ही जी Q ची व्हॅल्यू आहे, ती Q ची व्हॅल्यू एकतर पॉझिटिव्ह असेल किंवा एकतर काय असेल, निगेटिव्ह असेल. So what does it mean? When this Q is greater than 0, we can say the final kinetic energy, okay, this final kinetic energy that is given in terms of, you can have in terms of initial kinetic energy, okay, and the difference between them, that means final kinetic energy and the initial kinetic energy is such that the value of Q is greater than 0. What does it mean? The value of Q is greater than 0, that means the final kinetic energy of the particle is less than the final kinetic energy is less than the initial kinetic energy, and in that kind of process can say the process is called as एंडोर्जिक. सगळ्यांनी लक्षात येते का पहा, जे काही इलास्टिक कोलिजन आहे ते इलास्टिक कोलिजन पेक्षा इनइलास्टिक कोलिजन हे थोडंसं वेगळं आहे, कारण त्याच्यामध्ये काही प्रकारची एनर्जी जी आहे, हीट जी आहे ती त्याच्यामधनं बाहेर पडते. मग कशा पद्धतीने बाहेर पडते? सो दॅट डिपेंड्स अपॉन ओनली दिस टू कंडिशन्स, either q is greater than 0 or q is less than 0. What should be the condition? एखाद्याच्या मनामध्ये क्वेश्चन आला असेल, what should be the value when q is equal to 0? असू शकते ना, q ची व्हॅल्यू 0 पण असू शकते, एकतर ग्रेटर असू शकते, लेस असू शकते किंवा 0 पण असू शकतो. What does it mean when this q is equal to 0? When this q is equal to 0, what does it mean? It means that process is elastic. So we do not consider this condition that is q is equal to 0. So we'll have to look at only these 2 points. The first point, when q is greater than 0, final kinetic energy is less than initial kinetic energy, and the process is said to be an endorgic process. So in that endorgic process, the energy that will get absorbed. सगळ्यांनी लक्षात येतं, जर एनर्जी ऍब्सॉर्ब होत असेल तर एंडोर्जिक प्रोसेस. एंडोर्जिक प्रोसेस म्हणजे काय? q ची व्हॅल्यू ग्रेटर दॅन 0. q ची व्हॅल्यू ग्रेटर दॅन 0 म्हणजे काय? ही जी काही फायनल कायनेटिक एनर्जीची व्हॅल्यू आहे दॅट मस्ट बी लेस दॅन इनिशियल कायनेटिक एनर्जी. नाउ दिस वन, when this q is less than 0, it means that the final kinetic energy is greater than the initial kinetic energy. Okay, and what does it mean? It means that the process is exothermic or exergic. Okay, कसंही बोला, you can have this is the process is called as exergic, and you can say the amount of energy is released, or you can say that is lost. So remember these 2 points. याच्यावरती आता पुढे जाऊन आपल्याला फोकस करायचं आहे की व्हॉट शुड बी द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ क्यू. क्यू ची व्हॅल्यू अशी किती असू शकते की ज्याच्यावरून आपण हे सगळं कॅल्क्युलेशन करू शकतो, और whether we decide either q is greater than 0 or q is less than 0. So that depends upon the conditions. So for a time being, we just remember that when q is greater than 0, the process is called as endorgic. Energy is absorbed, and when q is less than 0, the process is said to be exergic and the energy is released. Now we'll have to focus mainly on the elastic collisions. Okay, so I'll just focus this. So with respect to this, I have 2 masses, m1 and m2, and we'll have to consider the frame of references. Now look at the point. We'll have to consider this non-relativistically. I have explained this in the first or second lecture. Relativistic and non-relativistic. So we have a difference between relativistic and non-relativistic. Non-relativistic in the sense the velocity of the particle is very, very less as compared to the velocity of light, and so you can have that. We have to consider this theory in terms of non-relativistically. So you can have that elastic scattering. So that elastic scattering is in terms of laboratory frame of reference, and the second one that is called as center of mass frame of reference. आता ह्या काही 2 frame of references आहेत. With respect to this, we will have to look at the elastic collisions. So just have a points with respect to elastic collision like this. In terms of an elastic collisions, in general cases, what will happen? We have 2 particles that move in such a way that they come closer to each other, collide, and after collision move away from each other. Conditions अशा आहेत, 2 particles are, they come closer to each other. Let us say we have a particle having masses m1 and m2, which are having initial velocities u1 and u2, and the final velocity that is v1 and v2. Okay, remember these points: u1, u2, v1, v2. These are initial conditions, these are final conditions. So we can consider the 2 particles. Let us say a particle m1, okay, the particle m2. this particle will come closer to each other, okay, and collide, and they have a scattering. So they, let us say these are nothing but the initial conditions U1, U2, and the final conditions are V1, V2. आता याच्यामध्ये आपण नॉन रिलेटिव्हिस्टिक कंडिशन्स कन्सिडर करतोय म्हणून मासेस मध्ये फरक पडत नाही. सो मासेस दॅट शुड रिमेन सेम m1 m2 इकडे तसेच m1 m2 आपल्याला मिळते. सो बेसिकली कंडिशन जी आहे ती या पद्धतीने आहे. मग आता कंडिशन अशी आहे की लॅबोरेटरी फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरन्स मध्ये कशा पद्धतीने पार्टिकल बिहेव करतील आणि सेंटर ऑफ मास फ्रेम मध्ये कशा पद्धतीने बिहेव करतील. तर ते जर पाहायचं झालं सो जस्ट लुक ॲट दिस वन बाय वन. So we'll have first thing, that is the laboratory frame of reference, and so for that, let us say we have a mass m1, okay, which moves with an initial velocity u1, which bombarded or collided with a mass m2, which is at rest, okay. As the mass m2 is at rest, its initial velocity is 0, and so after collision, you can have a concentration or the conditions that this mass is given like this, or the conditions are like this. This is m2, this is m1. It is moving with velocity v1, it moves with velocity v2, it makes an angle theta and alpha with this x-axis of the horizontal axis. Okay, so how can you explain this? The explanation is very simple. Let us say we have two masses, okay, m1 and m2. The mass m2 is at rest. The mass m2 is at rest, and m1 is approaches towards m2 with velocity u1. Okay. So after collision, m1 moves with velocity v1. After collision, m1 moves with velocity v1 and m2 moves with velocity v2. Okay, so which makes an angle theta and alpha with the incident direction. So this m2 is called as a recoil nucleus or a recoil particle. मला वाटतं ईपीएस का नाहीये तुमच्या सेमिस्टरला त्या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला हे सगळ्या गोष्टी परत लक्षात येतील. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ रिकॉइल पार्टिकल. दिस इज द इन्सिडेंट पार्टिकल, ओके, which is bombarded on this target, and after collision you can have these conditions. So this is the first point. In terms of a laboratory frame of reference, remember that point, your mass or the target is at rest, and as your target is at rest, its initial velocity is 0, okay, that means u2 is equal to 0, and after collision it is having certain velocities. म्हणजे पार्टिकल येते एका पार्टिकल वरती आलेला की त्यालाही कोलाइड रिकॉइल करते आणि त्याला दुसऱ्याला देखील स्कॅटरिंग होते. सो यू कॅन हॅव दिस कंडिशन्स. सो हाऊ कॅन यू राइट दिस? I can write this as m1 u1 law of conservation of momentum plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. But for this case you can have m1 u1 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 because this u2 is equal to 0. So this is the law of conservation of momentum in terms of laboratory frame of reference. So you can have that conditions. सगळ्यांच्या लक्षामध्ये येत आहे. व्हॉट अबाउट युअर एनर्जी then? Your kinetic energy is 1/2 m1 u1 square plus 1/2 m2 v2 square. As u2 is equal to 0, I can say this is 1/2 m1 v1 square plus 1/2 m2 v2 square. So remember that as your kinetic energy and momentums are conserved, you can have this equation in terms of laboratory frame of reference. So in terms of laboratory frame of references, what will happen? Your mass is at rest. Your target mass or the second mass m2, it is at rest. And as it is at rest, you can have these conditions. So theta is known as the angle of scattering. This is called as an angle of scattering. This is called as an angle of recoil. ठीक है? So you can have that. स्कॅटरिंग अँगल थीटा इन टर्म्स ऑफ लॅबोरेटरी फ्रेम ह्या सगळ्या क्वांटिटीज आपल्याला चेंज करायच्या इन टर्म्स ऑफ द सेंटर ऑफ मास फ्रेम. आपण प्युअरली फोकस करतोय फक्त इलास्टिक स्कॅटरिंग वरती, हे लक्षात ठेवा. सो वी कॅन हॅव दॅट इन टर्म्स ऑफ लॅबोरेटरी फ्रेम. नाउ वी हैव टू जस्ट चेक इट आउट what should be your conditions in terms of center of mass frame. So in terms of center of mass frame the conditions are somewhat different. Let us say we can have a mass m1, okay, which is approaching towards mass m2. They meet at the point, okay, that is called as the center of mass, and then they will have a scattering. So this is your point. The point is m1 and m2 are moving towards each other, okay, and they will have a scattering at the point that is called as the center of mass, and then they have a scattering, and that scattering that is represented like this. This scattering kashi dakhvali jate ba? We can have at points. So let us say these are the conditions. या पद्धतीनं तुमची जे काही सेंटर ऑफ मास जे काही पॉइंट्स आहेत ते या ठिकाणी दाखवले जातात. आणि वी कॅन हॅव दॅट दिस इन टर्म्स ऑफ m1 that is v1 dash. Now just check it out the symbols for a center of mass frame. This initial velocities are u1 dash and u2 dash, and this final velocities are v1 dash and v2 dash. So you can have these points in terms of this theta dash. हा जो काय अँगल आपण घेतोय स्कॅटरिंग अँगल तो देखील काय घेतला जातोय theta dash घेतला जातोय. So just purely remember the point. The point is we can have this in terms of a center of mass frame. Center of mass frame मध्ये दोन्ही masses move होतात which are approaching towards each other. They will meet at the point that is called as center of mass, and then they will have a scattering. Okay, so you can have a scattering is like this. So you can have different symbols in terms of your center of mass frame. In terms of laboratory frame, what will happen? Your mass m1 is approaching towards m2, m2 is at rest, and then we can have a scattering. Okay, so these are the points. So what will happen if you can have these conditions? Since the center of mass is at rest, you can write the conditions that is m1 u1 dash plus this m2 u2 dash is equal to 0. As the center of mass is at rest, you can have conditions for your momentum, that is m1 u1 dash plus m2 u2 dash is equal to 0. What does it mean? It means m1 u1 dash is equal to minus m2 u2 dash. And what about this point? For the final conditions, you can write that m1 u1 dash plus this m2 v2 dash is equal to 0, or you can write m1 v1 dash is equal to minus m2 v2 dash. Okay, so these are the conditions in terms of your center of mass frame. तर हे जे काही कंडिशन्स आहेत लक्षात ठेवा. पुढच्या लेक्चरला आपण बघूया की कशा पद्धतीनं हे जे काही सेंटर ऑफ मास फ्रेम आणि लॅबोरेटरी फ्रेमचे जे काही रिलेशन्स आहेत ते आपल्याला एकत्र करता येतील. सो फॉर टुडे विल स्टॉप इट हियर.